Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Gronke. Thank you for attending today's webinar, which is presented and sponsored by the Mastermind Consulting Network. This is our first in a series of educational webinars dedicated to building your business. Today, we'll share with you ideas that strengthen your business in today's marketplace. So let's get started. One of the first topics I'd like to talk about today is really what is creating your market dominating position, and what does that mean, and what is a market dominating position? Our presentation today will talk a little bit about that. And a market dominating position is every time you go into a store, you have choices to make, and you look at different products or you look at different services, and you may see advertisements. What stands out to you? What makes you look at that product further and potentially buy it? I'll look at an example. One of the companies that we all know and love, and we've probably many times frequented, is Domino's Pizza. And Domino's really adapted a strategy to create a market dominating position, which was hot, fast pizza targeted specifically for hungry college kids. And that was a big part of their business, and really was their sole part of their business for a long period of time. So what makes your business different from your competitors, and how is it perceived by your potential customers and prospects, so to speak? The market dominating position really is a value added, something for the customers, perceiving benefits or combination of benefits that really separates you from your competition and other people that might be in the area that are doing the same thing that you are doing. Doesn't necessarily have to be a retail store, but it can also be a service like a realtor. What makes you different than the rest of the realtors in the area? What makes you better than them? And one of the things that we talk about in that regard is really adding value to everything that you do. And that value can be put out there in your market dominating position. What makes these folks want to come to you? What value are you offering in your product or service that will make them choose you over the first person's next door? It's very, very important to talk about that and really sit down with yourself and figure out what that may be and write it down, because there may be several different things, and we can use all of those different things in creating a market dominating position. So differentiating your business from your competitors really comes down to about a 5-step process, which we'll go through and identify certain areas that we work on. And really one of the things that we talk about is, what is your strategic position in the marketplace? You may have several different products or services, but what is the one spot or niche that you really want to focus on? What's going to make it better? What's going to be working well for you? We'll go back to Domino's again. Domino's strategic position, as it says here, fast, hot pizza for hungry college kids. That pretty much says it all. If anybody went to college, we probably had a few Domino's pizzas in our lifetime. Or Starbucks, delicious handcrafted beverages that make life better. And those are all ideas and positions that put you above the rest. So the second portion would be, what is your market? Where do you want to work with? What type of people are you trying to hit, or what type of areas does your product need to be put into? Domino's, they really started with the college kids. They found places to open up facilities right next to college campuses, so they made it easy and fast for the kids to get the food. And that's the same thing you want to do with your business. What's the market that you're going after? And you really have to determine that to really help you put together that market dominating position. Number 3 is, what type of things support that business model that you're creating? What types of areas do you work with that are supporting that market dominating position? Promises that you're making to do something better, something faster, something different than everybody else. That really has to go into that that business model that supports everything that you're doing. The fourth thing that we talk about a great deal in working with a market dominating position is the secondary marketing position. What else do you offer to make your business better? It could be bundling different types of products to sell, a wider selection than your competitors. It may not be just one focused product. It might be a group of focused products that will separate you from your competition. And lastly, in this section, we've all heard this. And especially if you've been in sales or you're selling your product or your business, we want you to create that market dominating position statement, or as many of you have heard, an elevator pitch. So looking at the preceding little topics that we've had there in steps 1 through 4, this will help you determine and be able to put together that statement or that elevator pitch that will solidify your position, make people want to come to your business, or even in general conversation when you're out and about, will get people to think about, yeah, I remember what he said about his business. That was quite interesting. And let's see if we can go there for a little while and do business with them. And that's really all we want. And that's what that elevator pitch is geared to do, is make that statement that makes someone want to come to you for your product or service. The next section we want to talk about is really how to separate your business from your competition. And that has to do a lot with what is going on in the business. And we touched on a little bit of it a while ago. I'm going to sort of break it down into 3 categories here. The first category is the level of service. And there's quite a bit of things that go into that level of service that people look for. One is convenience. Domino's had it because they had locations on all college campuses. Domino's definitely had the speed when they were doing this. Education and training. A lot of times when people are looking to buy a service or a product, they need to learn a little bit more about it. And that's still part of the service. Really understanding what you're buying or what you're looking at doing. And the sole job of the business owner is to help educate and train your potential buyers or clients on what you're really doing or what you're really presenting out there. And as most of us, nobody likes to take risks. So what type of things that we have that might eliminate a risk? So in the case of insurance, it's obviously protecting against something, say an auto accident or something like that. So we're mitigating a risk. Our product is stopping a risk, so to speak. In certain areas, that's very important. Obviously, quality is a really big factor for a lot of people. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit more depth in just a moment. Security and safety is just, does this product work? Is it, am I buying it? Is it going to work for what I want? I mean, we're obviously not talking about necessarily pizza, but whatever product it may be, is it safe for us to use, or is it secure to be used? Secondarily is the selection. What type of selection do we have here? And I'll give you a good example. If you remember back in the days about Blockbuster and then the newcomer Netflix and what I call the tragic downfall. Blockbuster always had a super large selection of different movies, different genres, and all sorts of things. Might have 20 or 30 of the most bestsellers in each category. But you had to go to the store and pick them up. You had to go back and deliver them. Netflix did the same thing. They had a wide array of things, but you didn't have to go to the store and get them. So there was the convenience aspect of it. Very big issue. It actually caused the downfall of Blockbuster. And for those of you who are a little bit older, not really, probably won't remember it, but initially when Henry Ford came out and somebody asked him, well, what about different colors for your cars? And he was talking about the Model T. Henry Ford said, you can have any color you want as long as it was black, because that's really all that car was manufactured in for a number of years. Selection. Go back to, say, a retailer, and we'll use Joseph A. Bank. You've heard their ads, buy 1 suit, get 3 shirts free. Well, that's a real good example of bundling. paying full price for one item and then being able to throw in a lesser item or two of lesser value to make that deal sound much better than it really is. And that's very important to a lot of folks to get people in their doors, not necessarily discount prices, but to bring things together in a better value package, so to speak. And that tends to go into the selection. If you look at the cell phone market today, I mean, there's bunches of different cell phones, computers, tons of different information with computers and different ads and different pieces that go into a computer. And it's all depending on what the consumer is looking for. And we have to look at that also. And one of the things, and one of the last things I want to go over today, is really talking about pricing. Pricing is just a paramount issue with most business owners, especially if you're in a retail market, a restaurant market, or a service area. Everybody's thinking about pricing. And one of the things I tell a lot of my clients is that price, and this is the top dot on the line there, price is only an issue in the absence of value. That's a big statement there. So if you are putting together your market dominating position based on price, you're going to settle for a lower profit margin at best. It's very, very important that you are able to demonstrate the value of your product or service to justify the price. People really shop more for the value and understanding what they're getting for value than they look at the price. And here's the scary thought for a lot of business owners. When was the last time you raised your prices? And so many folks are afraid to do it because they'll lose business. If you have a fairly large clientele base, you could raise a price on a select group of products or clients, so to speak, and just take a look and see what happens. You'd be surprised. The folks that you lose are basically price shoppers that had no loyalty to you. But many times, raising a price doesn't hurt at all. It just goes right to your bottom line. One of the things we talk about, and it's changed in the industry over the last 20 or 30 years probably, is the airlines. Years back, you'd have a great meal served to you and it was complimentary. Well, it was built into the price. But now today, baggage fees, pillows, blankets, beverages, everybody charges for everything. Southwest Airlines is one of the few that doesn't do that. And it hasn't seemed to affect them at all. In fact, they've been quite successful over these last 40 years of making profit every year they go through this. So really evaluate your pricing. Take a good look at it and see where you stand with things. And don't be afraid to raise your prices. But remember, you've got to put the value with that price. All righty, to recap, we talked a little bit about differentiating your business from your competitors. What does that entail? And there's the 5 bullet points we talked about. The strategic position in your market, determining your market dominating position, what separates you, the business model that you need to create under that to support that market dominating position, and then looking at a secondary market dominating position that will support the first one. Maybe an additional product line, it may be an additional service, so that people have more reasons to go to your facility or use your product. And then lastly here is creating that market dominating position or statement or elevator pitch to get people involved and interested in what you're selling or what you're putting out there as a service. And lastly, how are we going to separate our business from our competition? And the things we talked about here were the levels of service that you provide in the different areas, the selection of services and products, and once again, pricing. I'll say it again, value matters. So really establish the value to help you justify the price. So really that's all we had to go through today. If you can have questions, you'd be more than welcome to send them off to me. This is my contact information. Once again, my name is Jeff Grauke and I'm part of Thunder Bay Group. I can be reached at jgrauke@tbaygroup.com or my phone number is 734-492-5637. And once again, thank you for your time.